guys think this goes somewhere, considering we saw the draw, to answering whether we take Wayne Rooney or not?
Great question, Rob.
Yeah, good question. But I think
even more so. I think
absolutely.
because of who you're going to face in.
Absolutely. Although there is the argument that, do you want to play him against the likes of Spain or Italy when he hasn't played? Which is the counter argument. I would take it.
Yeah, I would.
He's not a super sub, is he? I mean, he's someone who starts the game.
But if we were sort of
he's not a bad bet.
1-0 down, with 70 minutes gone against Spain, and you've got the option to bring on Wayne Rooney.
Well, that's the thing. Do you start him or not?
Yeah.
I can't see a situation where someone like Defoe or I don't know, whoever else we're taking plays so well in the 3 group games that they're going to keep Rooney out the side. Yeah. I just can't see it happening.
Those, for me, again, are going to be quite low-scoring matches.
Yeah.
I can't see us scoring many past Sweden.
Yeah.
Can't see us scoring many past France. Ukraine, the last group game,
they
might be out by then. That's the only hope, isn't it?
If they are, another draw. It'd be another draw. But if they are, that would make life a lot easier for us. Yeah. Because if we do need a result. But the thing is, even when home nations are already out, they play for their pride. And you look at South Africa in the World Cup and Austria when they were hosting. Their last group games were arguably their best in both cases. So it's going to be an awkward game. It may actually turn out to be better for England if Ukraine needs something from it because the pressure's on them.
Here you go. None of the last 6 tournaments have been won by the host, and in that time only Portugal got to the final. Hundreds now, aren't there?
But what's the quality of the host? Is what I'm getting
it's
at.
A good Portugal the only quality side, and they did get to the final.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've discussed Euro 2012. We're just going to move on now to England rugby. Now, we touched a couple of weeks ago on Commentator's Corner more on the unrest and the sort of disruptions that have been going on off the field. Since then, Martin Johnson, of course, has gone. Yeah. What next, Matt?
Well, this is an article we've had recently on the site. It's a very awkward situation because the main question is who's sorting it out.
Before we've got a manager.
Exactly. When you've got problems as high up as you have with the people who are meant to be appointing a new manager, that's when you've got real problems because it's who's cleaning it up. Who's making the big decisions here. What I would like to see, as I said in the article, was that I would love to see someone like Clive Woodward come back in a position similar to Rob Andrew and sort things out from there, even if it's only on an interim basis. Somebody who knows how it should be within that setup, who knows has sufficient contacts in the game and sufficient experience with people to know who's going to be right for it. And I think that Rob Andrew has looked increasingly like a rabbit in the headlights.
He only organised a meeting, didn't he? At least a week after Johnson had left.
I wrote of a comparison between him and Seb Coe.
Yeah.
Because both of them got their positions through their exploits in the sporting arena when they were actually participating. And whereas Coe has delivered on his promise of the Olympics, say what you want about the ticket situation, but it's going to happen and people are going to see it. Yeah. Whereas Rob Andrew, same principle, he was a good player, but he knows what he's talking about. Well, it hasn't proven to be the case. I was never in favour of Martin Johnson. I'm not, saying this with the luxury of hindsight. I wasn't in favour of him becoming manager. I don't think you should become an international rugby manager if you don't have any coaching experience. It's not like football where it's solely man management.
There's not a lot of examples in any sport where that's worked out really well.
No, I mean Klinsmann.
Maradona.
Maradona was dreadful. Klinsmann did it to a certain extent, but how would that have turned out if the competition wasn't in Germany?
Exactly, and percentage-wise across the board.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But I think that get someone in at the top, like Clive Woodward. Ideally, I think he may have accepted a position somewhere else, which would preclude him from doing that.
I think for a few years he wanted to distance himself from the sport.
Yeah,
but now he's got to that stage where you say never go back, but it's not quite the same.
It's a very different situation, and I think somebody like him to sort things out. I think an interim coach, which I believe they've now settled on doing. That's the way they're going to go. Someone like Graham Rowntree, who's already in the setup, has good coaching credentials, to tie us over so that we're not rushing this decision. but really evaluating who's out there, and seeing whether they're going to fit, not just with the team, but within the structure.
Yeah.
Brian Ashton mentioned today that he hadn't been contacted about the job. I think he's 65 now. He took a job at Field, I think it was, where he'd spent the majority of his playing career because he wanted to take a step back from it.
Quite a popular choice, possibly.
He would be a popular choice, and I think he was harshly treated after we got to the World
Yeah.
Cup final because that exceeded what that team should really have done in that tournament. But he said that the issue for him was who's the answer to? There's no chief of staff. Who is the answering to? And you've got to have that structure in place. We've seen all the problems that have come about in football when somebody's decided to have a director of football. And
very rarely works.
Yeah, whereas in rugby, it's almost a given because you have, particularly with international rugby, because you have the structure above at the RFU. It's always been there. The problem is the right people aren't there at the moment, and the problems have been ongoing for a long time. So, I think interim coach, somebody who knows what they're doing, sort out the top, and just clean slate.
If that's sorted, are the players good enough to?
I think. Well, my personal preference for a coach, despite his I mean, we go on about age and at risk of being BBC ageist. I think Sir Ian McGeechan would be fantastic because you look at how, I mean, this is just repeating a lot of stuff that was in the article really, but you look at how much winning the final lines test meant to him, even though the series had gone. It was essentially a dead match, but he still was clearly emotional to win a lines test. And I just think someone who can bring that kind of, pride of performance to a team that, all this stuff that's come out about fees and, bonuses from the World Cup, I take it with a little bit of a pinch of salt because they wouldn't be, clearly they care about paying for England. Yeah, exactly, yeah. And if they've been promised something, you're not just going to go, oh, it doesn't matter. Yeah, you're going to say something. But I do think that we need someone just to, kind of, not put an arm around their shoulder, but, help them rediscover that dream of playing for England that they all would have had when they were younger. And I don't think Martin Johnson's the right person to do that. Every time the camera cut away, he was slamming his headset down and yelling and angry. And well, fair enough if they're not doing what you wanted. And it's the carrot and stick and all this kind of stuff. But he was a bit too old school for me, Johnson. With this group, I think it would have worked with the 2003 group, but
they didn't quite, show the respect perhaps that you thought they would do.
No,
to the manager. He never really had total control, did he?
No, he didn't. I just don't think he was the right person for the job, but who knows? It's hypothetical.
Well, hopefully that will get resolved and England can be a force again. I mean, let's not forget, of course, we did get to the previous World Cup final.
And
with a lot weaker score.
And won the Six Nations and very nearly a Grand Slam.
Well, that was Johnson's best achievement, wasn't it?
It was, but
But yeah, let's hope it gets resolved in time for the Six Nations, which is starting pretty soon, isn't it? Yeah.
It's always terrible though when there's something that you care deeply about and the head's been cut off, and you're in that limbo period, and whatever team of any ilk you support, when your manager left. And you're in that limbo period, you can't really think too much of the future. Everything becomes more and more short term.
Steady the ship, isn't it?
Yeah, it's hard.
Well, the final thing we're going to go and chat about is the Sports Personality of the Year nominations. It's still quite a big honour, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, I've never been a particular fan of it. I don't really sort of. Well, it doesn't really do what it says on the tin, does it?
The last few winners have been a lot more. Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, Ryan Giggs we had, and then TP.
You wouldn't call him a personality as such.
It's a big problem, isn't it?
Although Imogen Thomas clearly thinks he's got. Don't get done for libel, but yeah.
Like someone like McCoy. I don't think anyone had really been following him. They just jumped on the bandwagon. I'm not saying he didn't deserve to win it.
It's a bit like the Oscars, though, isn't it? If someone's not won it, you feel like, well, I kind of got to give it to them, haven't we?
Yeah.
I can't stand things like that because it just drains any of the purpose out of it completely.
Yeah.
And if you were on the topic, if you're going to call it sports personality, you know, the way that they conduct it, just call it sports star.
I think it's actually badly titled.
It is.
It's
Yeah.
not.
It's
not
misleading.
exactly.
Or
It's
it
very
doesn't really
descriptions.
mean what it used to.
Possibly, yeah. But you know, sports personality. I mean, who have we had this year who's actually a genuine personality? Love him or loathe him, Joey Barton must get somewhere.
Yeah.
Because at least he says something.
Yeah.
But
I think he's unlikely to win.
Well, yes.
He's not shortlisted.
Well, it's probably his views that might.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.